Are you doing everything right, but your body still refuses to burn fat? What if I told you your morning routine might be the one thing blocking ketosis? Today, I'm going to show you a simple, science-backed morning hack that can help your body switch into fat-burning mode faster without extreme dieting or starving yourself. Let's break it down. You wake up determined to lose weight, you eat less, you try to make healthy choices, you even push yourself to exercise, and yet your body refuses to let go of fat. That frustration you feel is real, and it's not because you're lazy, undisciplined, or doing everything wrong. In many cases, it comes down to a single biological signal your body listens to more than anything else: insulin. This hormone quietly controls whether you burn fat or store it, and most people have no idea how much power it has over their metabolism. Every time you eat, especially foods rich in carbohydrates or sugar, your body releases insulin. Its job sounds helpful at first. It moves glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells for energy. But here's the part no one tells you clearly enough. When insulin is elevated, your body is effectively locked out of burning fat. It doesn't matter how many calories you cut or how hard you work out. If insulin stays high, your body prioritizes storing energy, not using it. Think about how most mornings begin. A cup of tea with sugar, maybe some bread, cereal, or biscuits. It feels normal, even healthy by conventional standards. But physiologically, this creates a sharp rise in blood sugar, followed by a surge in insulin. That one moment can set the tone for your entire day. Instead of tapping into stored fat, your body switches into storage mode, and it can stay there for hours. What makes this even more frustrating is how quickly hunger returns. After that initial spike, blood sugar often drops, leaving you feeling tired, irritable, and craving more food. This isn't a lack of willpower. It's a biological response driven by unstable glucose and insulin levels. Studies in metabolic health show that rapid spikes and crashes in blood sugar can increase hunger hormones and reduce satiety, making it harder to control portions later in the day. Now imagine repeating that pattern multiple times a day: breakfast, snacks, lunch, more snacks, dinner, maybe even something late at night. Each time you eat, insulin rises again. Your body never gets a chance to enter a state where it can efficiently burn stored fat. It's like trying to drain a bathtub while the faucet is still running. No matter how hard you try, the level never drops. This is why so many people feel stuck. They're focusing on calories, but their hormones are working against them. Research in endocrinology has consistently shown that insulin is a key regulator of fat metabolism. When insulin is low, your body can break down stored fat into fatty acids and use them for energy. When insulin is high, that process is suppressed. It's not just about how much you eat, it's about the hormonal environment inside your body. There's also a deeper layer to this. Over time, frequent spikes in insulin can lead to something called insulin resistance. This means your cells stop responding effectively to insulin, forcing your body to produce even more of it. Higher insulin levels become the new normal. This condition is strongly associated with weight gain, especially around the abdomen, and it plays a major role in metabolic disorders. It doesn't happen overnight, but the daily habits that seem harmless can slowly push the body in that direction. What's shocking is how common this has become. Modern eating patterns, with constant access to food and highly processed carbohydrates, keep insulin elevated for most of the day. Decades ago, people naturally had longer gaps between meals, giving their bodies time to reset. Today, that rhythm is almost completely lost. But here's where things start to change. When you understand that insulin is the gatekeeper of fat burning, everything becomes clearer. Instead of asking, "How can I eat less?" the better question becomes, how can I keep insulin low enough for my body to access fat? That shift in perspective can completely transform the way you approach nutrition. One of the most powerful strategies is simply allowing your body time without food. During these periods, insulin levels gradually drop and your body begins to switch fuel sources. Instead of relying on glucose, it starts tapping into stored fat. This metabolic shift doesn't require extreme dieting. It requires giving your body the space to do what it was designed to do. Another key factor is the type of food you eat when you do break that fast. Meals that are lower in refined carbohydrates and higher in healthy fats and protein tend to produce a smaller insulin response. This helps maintain a more stable internal environment, reducing cravings and supporting sustained energy levels. It's not about eliminating entire food groups out of fear, but about understanding how different foods affect your hormones. What many people notice when they begin to manage insulin more effectively is not just weight changes, but a shift in how they feel. Energy becomes more stable. The constant urge to snack starts to fade. Mental clarity improves. These changes are often subtle at first, but they build over time, reinforcing the idea that the body is finally working with you instead of against you. It's important to be realistic and responsible here. This is not a magic switch that produces instant results. Human metabolism is complex and individual responses can vary. Factors like sleep, stress, physical activity, and underlying health conditions all play a role. But understanding insulin gives you a powerful foundation to build on. If you've been struggling, it's worth asking yourself whether the issue is not effort, but direction. You may have been trying to force your body into fat loss without addressing the hormonal signals that control it. When those signals are aligned, the process becomes more natural and sustainable. And that's the key message. Your body is not broken. It's responding exactly the way it's designed to respond. The challenge is that modern habits often send it the wrong signals. By learning how insulin works and making small, consistent changes to support lower levels, you create an environment where fat burning is not forced, but allowed. In the end, lasting change doesn't come from extreme restriction or short-term fixes. It comes from understanding the biology that drives your body and working with it. When insulin is controlled, the door to fat burning opens. And for many people, that's the moment everything finally starts to make sense. You wake up with good intentions, promising yourself that today will be different, that today you'll finally stay on track. But within the first hour of your morning routine, something subtle and almost invisible begins to work against you. Something that feels harmless, routine, even comforting, yet has the power to shut down fat burning before your day has truly begun. That first sip of sweet tea, that quick bite of toast, that light breakfast you've been told is healthy. These aren't just small choices, they are biochemical signals, and your body is listening closely. The moment sugar or refined carbohydrates enter your system, your blood glucose begins to rise, and your pancreas responds instantly by releasing insulin, a hormone that acts like a storage switch, directing your body to take that incoming energy and store it rather than burn what you already have. This is not a theory or a trend. This is well-established physiology. Insulin doesn't just manage blood sugar. It directly suppresses lipolysis, the process your body uses to break down stored fat for energy. In simple terms, when insulin is elevated, fat burning is put on hold. What makes this especially powerful in the morning is your body's natural hormonal state. After a night of fasting, insulin levels are typically at their lowest point, creating a rare metabolic window where your body is more prepared to access stored fat. But that window is fragile. The wrong input, especially sugar, can close it almost instantly. Research in metabolic science has shown that even a modest carbohydrate-rich breakfast can significantly elevate insulin and delay fat oxidation for hours afterward. Now consider how this plays out in real life. You wake up slightly hungry, maybe even a little low on energy, and you reach for something quick. It could be a cup of tea with sugar, a slice of bread, a bowl of cereal, or even a packaged healthy snack. Within minutes, your blood sugar spikes. Insulin follows. For a brief moment, you might feel energized, maybe even satisfied. But that feeling doesn't last. As insulin does its job and pulls glucose out of your bloodstream, your blood sugar begins to drop, sometimes rapidly, leading to fatigue, brain fog, and a renewed sense of hunger. This cycle is not random. It's a predictable response rooted in how your body maintains balance. Studies have shown that rapid fluctuations in blood glucose can trigger hunger hormones like ghrelin while suppressing satiety signals, making you more likely to eat again sooner than you planned. That's why so many people feel hungry just a couple of hours after breakfast, even if they consumed enough calories. It's not about the quantity of food, it's about the hormonal response to it. And here's where the deeper problem begins to reveal itself. Each time you eat and spike insulin, you reset the clock on fat burning. If meals and snacks are spaced too closely together, insulin never has a chance to return to baseline. The body remains in a constant state of energy storage, rarely accessing its own fat reserves. Over time, this pattern can lead to a kind of metabolic gridlock, where despite eating less or exercising more, fat loss becomes increasingly difficult. This isn't just about weight. Chronically elevated insulin levels are associated with a range of metabolic issues, including insulin resistance, a condition where the body's cells become less responsive to insulin's signals. When that happens, the pancreas compensates by producing even more insulin, creating a cycle that can contribute to weight gain, especially around the abdominal area. Research published in endocrinology and metabolism journals consistently highlights the link between hyperinsulinemia and the development of metabolic disorders. What's shocking is how normalized this pattern has become. As modern dietary habits often encourage frequent eating, with snacks positioned as necessary for maintaining energy. But from a hormonal perspective, constant eating means constant insulin stimulation. Your body is never given the signal that it's safe to switch into fat-burning mode. It's always being told that more energy is coming, so there's no need to use what's already stored. Now think about the emotional side of this experience. You try to be disciplined. You cut calories. You choose foods labeled as healthy, and yet you feel tired, hungry, and stuck. It can feel like your body is betraying you, but in reality, your body is following instructions, signals driven by hormones, not intentions. The disconnect between effort and results can be incredibly frustrating, but it becomes easier to understand when you see the underlying biology. There's also an important psychological impact. Repeated cycles of energy spikes and crashes can affect mood, focus, and motivation. Some studies suggest that unstable blood sugar levels may contribute to irritability and reduced cognitive performance. So it's not just your metabolism that's being affected, it's your entire daily experience. But within this challenge lies a powerful opportunity. When you recognize that the timing and composition of your first meal can influence your entire day, you gain a point of control that is both simple and effective. By avoiding early insulin spikes, you allow your body to extend that natural fat-burning window created overnight. This doesn't require extreme measures. It begins with awareness and small, consistent changes. For example, choosing to delay your first meal slightly can give insulin more time to remain low, supporting the transition into fat metabolism. When you do eat, selecting foods that have a lower impact on blood sugar can help maintain a more stable internal environment. Meals that include protein, healthy fats, and fiber tend to produce a more gradual rise in glucose and a more moderate insulin response, which can support sustained energy and reduced hunger. What many people notice when they shift this pattern is a gradual but meaningful change in how they feel. Mornings become clearer, energy feels more steady. The urgency to snack begins to fade. These changes are not dramatic overnight transformations, but they are consistent with what research suggests about improved metabolic flexibility, the body's ability to switch between fuel sources efficiently. It's important to approach this with balance and responsibility. Not everyone will respond in the same way, and individual health conditions, medications, and lifestyle factors must always be considered. This is not about rigid rules or extreme restriction. It's about understanding how your body responds and making informed choices that align with your goals. In the end, the most surprising truth is that the smallest habits can have the biggest impact. That seemingly innocent morning routine, repeated day after day, can either support your metabolism or quietly work against it. When you begin to see food not just as calories, but as signals that influence your hormones, your approach to health starts to shift. And that shift can change everything, because when you stop unknowingly blocking fat burning and start creating the conditions that allow it, your body finally gets the message it's been waiting for. It sounds almost too simple to be true, that the timing of your morning could determine whether your body burns fat or stores it. But beneath that simplicity lies a powerful biological system that has been shaped over thousands of years, a system that responds not to intention, not to motivation, but to signals. And the signals you send in the first few hours after waking may be the most influential of all. Right now, without even realizing it, your body is constantly asking one question. Is it time to store energy, or is it time to use what we already have? When you wake up in the morning, your body is emerging from a natural fasting state. During sleep, you haven't eaten for several hours, and as a result, insulin levels have gradually declined. This is not a minor detail. It's a critical metabolic condition. Low insulin is one of the key requirements for your body to begin accessing stored fat. In fact, research in metabolic physiology shows that during fasting periods, the body increases lipolysis, breaking down fat stores into fatty acids that can be used for energy. This is the state many people are trying to reach, often through extreme diets, yet they unknowingly interrupt it within minutes of waking. The opportunity here is quiet but powerful. In those early hours, your body is already leaning toward fat utilization. Glycogen stores, your body's stored form of glucose, are partially depleted, and hormonal signals are shifting. Cortisol, a hormone that follows a natural daily rhythm, rises in the scale to help mobilize energy, making fuel available for the day ahead. This process can support fat metabolism when insulin remains low. But the moment you introduce a high carbohydrate or sugary food, that entire hormonal balance changes. Insulin rises sharply, and the body is instructed to stop releasing stored fat and instead process the incoming glucose. What's remarkable is how quickly this switch happens. Studies have shown that even a single high glycemic meal can significantly reduce fat oxidation for several hours. That means the window your body naturally opened for fat burning is closed almost instantly, not because your body failed, but because it responded exactly as it was designed to. This is where the concept of a morning advantage becomes so important. It's not about doing more, it's about interfering less with what your body is already trying to do. Imagine your metabolism as a system of gears. Overnight, the gears shift toward fat burning slowly and steadily. But if the first thing you do in the morning is spike insulin, it's like forcing those gears back into storage mode. The transition is immediate, and the consequences can last for hours. During that time, even if you eat less overall, your body is less likely to tap into its fat reserves because the hormonal environment doesn't support it. This is why the idea of delaying your first meal has gained attention in scientific and health communities. Extending the natural fasting period, even by a few hours, allows insulin to remain low for longer, giving your body more time to access stored energy. This doesn't require extreme fasting protocols or skipping meals entirely. It can be as simple as not eating immediately upon waking and allowing your body to continue the metabolic process it started overnight. What happens during this extended fasting window is both subtle and profound. As insulin stays low, the body increases the production of ketones, molecules derived from fat that can be used as an alternative fuel source. This state, often referred to as nutritional ketosis, is associated with increased fat oxidation and, in some cases, improved mental clarity. Research has shown that ketones can cross the blood-brain barrier and provide a stable source of energy for the brain, which may explain why some people report feeling more focused when they delay their first meal. But the benefits are not limited to fat metabolism. Allowing your body time without food can also influence other important processes. For example, periods of fasting have been linked to improved insulin sensitivity, meaning your body becomes more efficient at responding to insulin when it is released. This can help regulate blood sugar levels more effectively over time. There is also emerging research on cellular repair processes, such as autophagy, which may be enhanced during fasting states, although this area continues to be studied. What makes this approach particularly powerful is its simplicity. It doesn't rely on complicated meal plans or expensive supplements. It doesn't demand perfection. It asks you to pay attention to timing and to respect the natural rhythms of your body. And yet, despite its simplicity, it can feel challenging at first, especially if you're used to eating early in the morning. Hunger cues may appear, but it's important to understand that hunger is not always a sign of true energy deficiency. It can also be influenced by habit, hormones, and fluctuations in blood sugar. Over time, as your body adapts, those hunger signals often become less intense. This adaptation is part of what researchers describe as metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch between fuel sources efficiently. In a metabolically flexible state, your body can use glucose when it's available and shift to fat when it's not. This flexibility is a hallmark of metabolic health, and it's something many people have lost due to constant eating and frequent insulin spikes. There's also a psychological shift that begins to take place. When you realize that you don't need to eat immediately, that your body has access to stored energy, a sense of control emerges. You're no longer reacting to every hunger signal with urgency. You're making choices based on understanding rather than impulse. This doesn't mean ignoring your body's needs, but rather interpreting them with greater awareness. Of course, it's essential to approach this responsibly. Not everyone will respond the same way, and certain individuals, such as those with specific medical conditions, those taking medications that affect blood sugar, or those with unique nutritional needs, should seek guidance from a qualified healthcare professional before making changes. The goal is not to push the body into stress, but to support it in a way that aligns with its natural design. When you look at the bigger picture, the idea becomes clear. Your body is not waiting for a complicated solution. It's responding to the signals you give it every day, especially in those first critical hours. By allowing insulin to remain low a little longer, by avoiding the immediate spike that shuts down fat burning, you create an environment where your body can do what it was built to do. And that's the quiet power of this approach. It doesn't shout, it doesn't promise instant transformation. It works in the background, aligning your habits with your biology. And when that alignment happens, something changes. Fat burning is no longer forced through extreme measures. It becomes a natural outcome of a system that is finally being allowed to function as it should.